Last winter, Multicultural hosted an ethnic music concert series, inviting artists of all backgrounds to share their music. One of those groups was the Dust Rhinos. The five-piece Celtic rock group has seen members come and go, but the current roster is a tight-knit group of friends ready to perform traditional airs, reels, and jigs, and have fun doing it. So let's meet up with the Dust Rhinos, Manitoba's premier party band.
All right, so this is Ryan Spracklin. Hey. Plays mandolin and fiddle. This is Darren Wittmann on drums and jiggery-pokery stuff. Ivanka Wtkin on fiddle. Dan on accordion and bass, Dan Cannon. And I'm Blair McEvoy. I play drums, Warren, guitar, and do the singing.
How did you all come together? And most importantly, how'd you come up with the name the Dust Rhinos?
After 30 years, it's still our most asked question. And it was an old Far Side cartoon. Roberta takes on a dust rhino. And we were looking for a name, and we didn't like any of them. And then a friend remembered that old cartoon and said, "What about the Dust Rhinos?" And everybody loved it. So we went.
It was a very smart decision at the time. It was pre-internet, but if you had to pick a band name now, like, you got to hop on Google and see if it's used all over the place. Dust Rhinos you're lucky it's pretty original.
Yeah.
If you do a Google search on Dust Rhino, you're gonna.
I'm sure that lots of kids in their garage somewhere are going, "Let's call our band the Dust Rhinos," and then they search and say, "They're calling a band of old guys called the Dust Rhinos." But yeah, so we started off as a three-piece busking unit. We played down at the Forks, and then another friend came along, and we added them, and then the lady who owned the Toad in the Hole pub saw us, and she said, "Well, you have to come and play at my pub." And so we went and we thought, well, geez, we're going to need more songs and maybe a bass player and stuff. So we added another person to the band, and we got there, and the space to set up was about 8 feet by 6 feet deep. And so and there was 6 of us at this time, and we're all standing on top of each other. The best time we ever had. It was hilarious fun, and we thought, well, we should maybe do this more often. And so it kind of started from that, and then the sound went from being just kind of real acoustic, traditional songs, but played really, really fast. Then once we had a bass player, we thought, well, we need a drummer. And so Derek came on board as Derek's the original drummer from the Dust Rhinos, although we've had 3 drummers because he took a little hiatus to have children, which he doesn't look like he's had any at all. And and then came back after, and and we added Dan on bass. Dan played with a band called Men in Kilts, who we loved, and when our bass player left, about 2 months after Men in Kilts?
Yeah, it was
Men in Kilts had stopped playing, and I phoned Dan, and he worked nights at the time, so he was away, but his wife Jen said, "Yeah, he'll play." So I made a deal with Jen that Dan would be our bass player. And then just it's 4 years ago now?
Yeah.
Or will it be coming up on 5 years?
2018.
We're coming up on 2018.
Where is it now?
Ryan and Ivanka joined the band for fiddle and mandolin, fiddle and to play all the pretty bits for us. And and so it's been going on. I guess we've had probably about 17 Dust Rhinos over the whole life of the band. But
You're the OG.
I mean, I'm the original one. It's a good job I came up with the name and signed the paperwork for it. But yeah, Dan, you've been with the band now 14 years.
Almost 15. 14
Almost
years,
15
yeah.
years. And Darren, like 20 years on 2 separate occasions and tours of duty. I also made the deal for him to come back with his wife.
Yeah.
we were looking for a new drummer, and Darren just happened to be at the show with his wife, and I saw him, and I went over on our first break, and I said, "Hey, we need another drummer. We're getting it. Our drummer's leaving, and we need another drummer." And his wife said, "Oh, Darren will do it." So I made a deal with Trish, and our drummer again.
She may regret that decision. She was probably thinking it was just like whatever, a couple months, a year or two.
Yeah, that was 10 years, 12.
Whatever Danny is, and add a couple more.
Yeah, so that was like 16 years ago.
How would you say your sound has evolved over the years to what it is today?
Well, I think like we started off just playing trad, just acoustically, really guitar based, and then we started adding like more traditional instruments and that. And then every time a new person comes to the band, they bring new stuff to the band, and we all like so many kinds of music. It's like Ivanka brought a whole new set of tunes and ways to do things when she came, as did Ryan. Ryan played a different style than we've ever had in the band before too, which has added like a whole new layer to things. And Darren's a blues guy at heart, and so he doesn't get any of the stuff he wants.
Where it used to be maybe just like trads and Celtifying them, playing them fast and upbeat, and being a party band, and things have evolved. Like some of us have gotten older, some of us are younger, but like when we record, we're writing our own music. It's changed a bit too, and maybe it's not always just straight Celtic. Like there's a different feel to some of it. The instrumentation stays the same, like where we're going to have fiddle and mandolin, accordion, bass, drums. It's going to have that feel to it, but I think it's evolved and expanded, so it's a wider range of influences of music that comes out.
Yeah, very definitely.
Yeah.
Like when we would sit down to record an album before, it'd be like, well, let's get 10 great party tunes together. And now it's like, let's just get 10 really great songs and play those. And like Darren said, we're writing most of our own material now. And it's been 30 years, your focus changes over that time too, you go through a lot of life in that time. Mm-hmm. And when we first started this band, Celtic music wasn't the big thing, and then it became the big thing.
Yeah.
And now it's not the big thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like we've lived through a cycle and a half
yeah.
of Celtic music, and we haven't really always played Celtic music anyway. It's really what we're known for, mm-hmm. mostly because I think when we started, at one point there was 12 Celtic bands in Winnipeg, and now there's mostly us.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because we just enjoy playing music together, and because we also haven't just stuck in that one little genre. It's kind of, I would say, more roots and folk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if you look at your more famous Celtic rock bands, I mean, the genre of Celtic rock has really only existed a little bit longer than the Dust Rhinos have existed. I mean, it's not, it's relatively new genre, if you want to use that term. So when you start coming at it it evolves into there's going to be people trying different things. When you think of all those other groups, they move on and to a different vibe, a different feel, because Celtic has kind of become a thing that everybody loves. So why not build on that and use those influences from other things to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more relatable.
So how would you describe Celtic music? How does it tie back to like the Emerald Isles and Ireland?
Well, Celtic it's not just Ireland, really. Yeah. It's sort of the British Isles, like Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and then of course, like during the famine and stuff, people left and immigrated to America and like all over the world, but they took their music with them when they went. And then like a lot of the Appalachian music and stuff like that was heavily influenced, Zydeco and stuff, heavily influenced by Irish music and stuff. And so it is kind of cyclical that it goes out and it meets other stuff and it mixes around and it comes back a little different. And I think it's, you know, traditional Celtic music is sort of the gift that area of the world give to the rest of the world. Like if you go to Nova Scotia or New Brunswick or like any of the East Coast provinces, Newfoundland, there's a huge amount of Celtic music, but they don't consider it Irish. It's like Newfie music or it's East Coast music.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's, I had a friend who once said, you know, like, kick over a rock by a pub and you'll find an Irishman anywhere in the world. So I guess that's, you know, the music really spread all around the world.
Yeah. What's great about the tradition of it too is that there's a lot of tunes, but you know, definitely a handful of tunes that I know you and I know that if you go to anywhere that plays that anywhere close to that style of music, if there's like, you know, actual tunes being played and accompanied by, you're going to be able to, like, St. Anne's Reel is probably a good example. Like, it's a traditional Irish tune from long time ago, before any of the, you know, colonization happened. And then as things moved through the world, like, you can play that tune and almost everybody knows it. Doesn't matter what genre of music that they play.
I've sat in on jams in Australia, in France.
Yeah, exactly.
Group in Brittany.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere. And everyone kind of knows a lot of the same stuff. What's cool about that, too, though, is Canadian written Celtic music is, like, super popular.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. Like, I would even argue slightly more than maybe where it's originally from in some cases, right?
Absolutely.
A genre or a style of music can just kind of spread out and become its own unique thing over like a period of time.
You're talking about a lot of time with this too, like it's hundreds of years, right? Like we play a couple of songs that are hundreds of years old.
Oh yeah, sung by the Sailors in America. Yeah,
it's interesting because they fit in. Like,
well, you're telling Canadian history with so many of them.
Yeah, like it really is all just about telling stories.
Yeah,
and you know, our songs pretty much all tell a story. We write story songs for the most part. You know, so it's just a little more updated, a little more modern story is all.
Yeah, so they kind of just blend right together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's probably why that kind of style of music is really good for kind of a pub atmosphere. So, like as you're hanging out, having drinks, someone's just telling this evocative story in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the favorite things about it is it doesn't even matter if I'm on the stage and I'm playing just a jig or a reel, but mostly it's the jigs that get them. So they'll be playing just a nice lilty jig, and people will be walking in, and even if they're kind of making fun of it, I still got them to dance. You know? Even if they to get somebody just kind of hopping and bipping and bopping, even if they're kind of teasing or like they're making fun of it and everything like that, I still made you dance.
Yeah.
You got him.
Exactly, and it's just it's catchy. It's stuff that people just enjoy listening to.
It is funny though too. Like I sometimes forget not everyone is as immersed in this kind of music as I am. Like I see people who are like, "Oh, you're doing like a thing," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess it is like a thing to you, but it's just what I've been doing for so long. It
Right.
just kind of feels normal."
One time,
Sorry.
are you good?
Yeah.
One time, it was an online music competition, and a friend of mine was entering a couple songs. He says, "You need to enter some songs in this. It'll be hilarious because you get feedback about your songs." And so I put a song in called Sally Brown, which is an old sea shanty that we played, and we added a tune to the end of it, and we sped it up way faster than it would ever be as a sea shanty. And it was a real kind of Celtic rocker. And it went into this competition, but the audience for this competition was pretty young people, like probably 15 to 22 was the age range. And the comments were all like, "Is this pirate music? What's going on? I've never heard anything like this." And it was like blowing their minds because they couldn't put a label on it because the label was too old for them. and
Pirate music is good.
Again, it was like, it's the kind of thing where, like Dan says, you forget that not everybody just knows it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, these are kids that have been listening to pop music all the time, and then they got this competition thing sent to them where they got a bunch of free songs, and then they got one from this band from Winnipeg and went, "What?"
The closest they get to folk roots is like Mumford and Sons.
Yeah. Oh, this was pre-Mumford and
Oh yeah,
Sons.
right.
That was prior to the TikToks.
So where can people go to find out more about the Dust Rhinos?
Well, we're on all the social media sites and that, but we have our website is dustrhinos.com, and that's usually the best place to. It has all the links to all of the social sites as well, so you come there, and all of our gigs are announced there. There's music samples and video samples and things like that, and you can look at all of our pictures of when we played live shows. Because every live show we played this summer, we took photos at, and they're all up on that page. So yeah, it's that's probably the best spot if you want to learn.
There's 52 new videos.
Yes, your YouTube site is like chock full of stuff.
Enjoying the content from You Multicultural? Subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything that we're doing. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk, and have yourself a good one.